And welcome into the new and improved AFC West War Room. I am your host, Corey. We're going to do an AFC West roll call. Get us going, Tim.
Yeah, Tim here with Answer the Call podcast. Let's go.
Matt.
Hey, I'm Matt with Orange Crush News 365.
And Cody.
And this is Cody with Drew Code Sports Talk, representing the Raiders.
Gross.
All right, and I am Austin. I am affiliated with your current NFL dynasty, Kansas City Chiefs.
And I'm Corey, the other half of the Showdown Sports. I'm representing the Broncos. This is the AFC War Room. You are now entering into the War Room where rivals collide.
Rolling out. Looking for the rookie record. Ball tip and oh my gosh! The double deflection. Set up the screen. Instead, he'll float it over the middle. Jump ball and it's Bowers down the sideline. The rookie from Georgia with the game's first score. Mahomes. Touchdown. Mahomes.
Man, every time we're episode 3 in this, it doesn't get old seeing the video. Boys, how are we doing tonight?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. I'm super pumped. Like, I couldn't even stand it, So I have a job where, like, today, because yesterday is technically my day off. And so because yesterday was the holiday, my job honored it today. So, like, I had a 3-day weekend today. Was my last day off, and I just got super pumped to be here.
Matt, how we doing?
Doing good, man. I unfortunately did have to work today. My holiday was yesterday. I got to mop dirty tents because we got a field exercise coming up, so why not?
And I want to say first, before we go any further, Matt, yesterday, Memorial Day, for all of our servicemen and women, we want to thank you for your part of the U.S. Navy. Buddy, we thank you, and to all those others who, honestly, without you guys, we're not sitting here doing this right now. So everyone here, give Matt a round of applause.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Matt.
As always, hey, thanks for your support. It's always appreciated. And just remember, Memorial Day is a day to honor the fallen, not so much the ones currently serving, although thanks are always appreciated. Just remember, Memorial Day is to honor the fallen. But as always, I appreciate you guys and appreciate everyone watching for the support.
Cody, I know you're a Raiders fan, buddy, but how you doing today?
Today's a great day. I don't know why everyone's hating on a Raider fan, but anyways, been great. Had a long day of work. We were actually in our group chat texting and changing a bunch of stuff, which I think I'll speak for the group, which we're very excited to unveil in due time. But yeah, we've been working hard behind the scenes to get this thing going, and very similar to what Tim said, I was pumped about this, and I'm very pumped to be here for episode 3. Who would have thought? We've gone 3 episodes already, and it still feels like, we haven't even hit our stride yet. So it's super exciting.
Bro?
Yeah, it's a beautiful day. I mean, it feels like Monday given the long weekend. So, like, how good could a second Monday feel? But I'm with the rest of the boys. You kind of wake up and have a little extra giddy up in your step, knowing that you kind of get to end your day here with the boys talking ball.
So we had big news last week. Obviously, the Olympics are now going to have officially a USA flag football team. So the kind of basis of our episode tonight is going to be a flag football draft, AFC West edition. So we want to, for the chat, we want you guys to vote now for the draft order. Do you want Cody to go first? Do you want Tim to go first? Do you want Austin, myself, or Matt? Matt and I will be drafting together since we're both kind of Broncos guys. We kind of go that way. So Matt will do the first round pick for us, and then we'll alternate picks. So for right now, vote in the chat who you want to see go first in the draft. We will leave that open for a few minutes. while Matt has the question of the episode for us. Matt, give it to you.
Yeah, so as you all know, last week, NFL teams, they got together and they took votes on new rules for the league. You know, obviously they talked about the tush push. They talked about onside kicks. One thing they were supposed to talk about, though, was the playoff reseeding. Now, the Detroit Lions proposed that just because you won the division, if another team has a better record than you, that team with the better record should be hosting the playoff game. As it stands right now, you win the division, you host a playoff game. The Lions withdrew that the day they were supposed to meet. The Lions withdrew the proposal, and it will probably be readdressed at another time. And when I looked it up, the reason they pulled it is because they didn't think they were going to get enough votes. So, Corey, Austin, you guys are always starting with us. I'm going to go ahead and kick it off to you guys. Do you think the Lions should have pulled it? Do you agree with their claim? Do you think they would have, the league would have sided with them? Like, what are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, this is something that I've always been a fan of as far as the reseeding. You can still be your division winner, but I do think seeding should be based on record. Just because the Falcons are – I'm just going to use examples, right? But typically it's an NFC South team. Like just because you win 9 games in a bad division doesn't mean that you should get to host, like the 14, 15-win team from the NFC North. Just because they had a team better. So, they probably had every right to pull it. They kind of can gauge the feel on it. But I would absolutely be a fan of seeding going in the way of the record. I thought that's how all sports should do it anyway. Like you can still crown your division champs, but seeding is based on record. So it's unfortunate that it got tabled if it wasn't getting enough support. But like you said, I do hope it's addressed in the future because I do think that's the way to go.
Yeah, I know it was a hot topic. Today, I even listened on my drive home from work, had Ian Rappaport on the radio station I was listening to, and he even said, don't forget about this one. He thinks that once they decide to go to 18 games, that maybe when you kind of see it pop back up. I don't like it. I see both sides of it. I really do. You don't want to reward it, the NFC South team going 8-9 or 7-11 when they get to 18 games, whatever it is. But at the same time, if you're not gonna reward the division winners, then why do we have divisions, right? Like there's no reason to have a division at that point if you're not going to reward a division winner for doing what they're supposed to do, albeit their schedule, how it is what it is each season, right? But at the end of the day, you got to win your division, and I hope it stays the way it is. Unfortunately, just because that's what we're so used to and what we're accustomed to.
Cody?
So, I think when we were first reading this topic, I kind of was siding with Austin a little bit regarding like, hey, look, the better record should have it. It is what it is. But I got to be honest, kind of thinking about it, it isn't really fair for the division winner to not get a home game when they won the division. Like that's the point. You play the most games in the season against your divisional opponent. So it wouldn't be fair. Like, and I get it. Like, for example, the Green Bay Packers, I think they were a road playoff team. They're having to go on the road against maybe, the Buccaneers, let's say, that didn't have as good of a winning record. But Buccaneers won the division. Green Bay Packers didn't. It's just how it is. And I kind of feel like the way it is serves its purpose, because if we're going to just not worry about divisional wins anymore, then why don't we just go with a straight up, 16-team conference and just go kind of like what the NBA does. It's a top 8 seeding, and then your playoff seeding is based off of just your overall record. And let's not worry about different things such as point differential or divisional win-loss percentage or whatever. We're kind of getting out of the minutia of it and just going straight to win-losses in general. But then we don't get the same divisional rivalries, I think, if we kind of take away from the fact of it, how important it is to win in your division. So I'm kind of siding with, I'm glad that they're staying put, because if they take away the divisional winners having the home games, they're going to have to completely take it back to the drawing board in terms of what we're going to do now for the rest of the seedings, especially if it's only the top 7 teams. It's kind of set up in that manner, but definitely the lower seeds are, at a disadvantage, even if they have a better record than a divisional winner.
So let me combat that with, you guys are talking, we're not rewarding division winners. Sometimes your division winner isn't actually a top 7 team. So still rewarding them as a playoff team, that's their reward. So like you wouldn't have to do away with divisions. Like the reward for you winning your easy division is still getting in the playoffs, even if you're not one of those top 7 records.
Sure, but like for example, I think we can agree that the NFC South is probably one of the worst divisions in NFL, or at least the AFC South to me is not that great of a division. We'll just assume one of those 2 divisions produces a divisional winner that's 7-10, 8-9, right? They still won the division regardless of how many wins. So for them to not host for a team like the Chiefs, or not the Chiefs, that's a bad example. Let's say the Baltimore Ravens can't host a home game because they had more wins, but they just couldn't beat whoever the divisional winner is. I think unfortunately, whoever, if it's the Titans or if it's Houston or whoever in that South division, if they get the divisional crown, they should get the home game regardless of the win-loss record, because they won the division regardless of what the record is. And, you know, you look at a team, I think I can't remember what year it was. I want to say it was 2011. Seattle had a wild card game with the Saints, even though the Saints came in with the better record. Seattle won the division, and in that home game, and birthed the huge moment of beast mode, which would have never have happened if it was a reseeding situation. So that's where I think like the divisional winners gifted a home game because they won their division. Like it's only right in the sense of like, yes, win-loss records are important, but they won the division. They are the divisional winners who get to represent a home game. That'd be my only pushback to that.
Well, my pushback on that is real simple, because like the NFC South is a weak conference, and we all know it, weak division. And so because they go 7-10, because they barely beat the crappiest teams in their division, they should be rewarded with a home game in the playoffs? No. You know, you look at the NFC North last year, and this is a prime example of it, you know, with the Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers, and the Minnesota Vikings all being great and fighting, and I mean just clawing their way to the top of their own division. And the Minnesota Vikings got, you know, as a wild card seed just because they finished as a wild card team, even though they had better records than every other division winner. And so for me, I'm actually for the, you know, I want to see the change. And, you know, we kind of saw it in college. You know, now college football is going with the straight seeding instead of having the conference champions be seeded automatically 1 through 4. It'll just be a straight 1 through 12, and where you fall is where you fall. I think the NFL should be like that. And like Austin said, I don't think that it takes away from the division. You can still have the division rivalries. You can still have great football. And I think having it this way, we'll get even better playoff games than what we're already getting, because the better teams will be the home teams, and then they'll match up with the, you know, so Kansas City and Buffalo will have to scrap it out, you know, almost guaranteed down the road. So I think this could be a great change for the NFL. And if it doesn't work, then we can just simply go back to how it is. It's no big deal.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of 50-50 on it myself. I do get the point of like, you know, if they reseed everyone, then, you know, there's the incentive of, there goes your incentive for like winning the division, because now you don't get to host a playoff game. But then on the other side of the coin is win your games and we won't run into this problem. But personally, I don't think it's going to take away anything, simply because, like Austin said, your reward is you got to the play. At the end of the day, the goal is to get to the playoffs. And you can't say that, oh, well, I mean, yeah, you kind of are at a disadvantage when you're on the road. But if you look at the Giants, when they beat the undefeated Patriots in the Super Bowl, that whole playoff run was done on the road. They were the away team the entire time. So it can be done. It's not impossible. But then you look at, you know, I know we kept talking about the NFC South, but if you look at 2014, the Carolina Panthers went 7-8-1, but won their division and hosted a playoff game against the Cardinals, and they won that. They ended up winning that game, and then they lost to Seattle in the next round. But me personally, I feel like, you know, I think the Lions have a point. Like, hey, we won our games. Yeah, we didn't win the division. We won our games, though. We made that push, and we won enough games. We beat them, especially like, let's say, you match up with, let's say it's the Panthers and the Vikings, and the Vikings actually they met in the regular season. The Vikings won, finished with a better record, didn't win the division, but the Panthers did. Not only that, the tiebreaker should have gone to the Vikings anyway, but current rules say, hey, no, they won the division, they get the host. So I do hope they do change it. And like Tim said, if it doesn't work out, you change it back. So,
All right.
Anybody else have anything on that? All right, looks like we have our draft order, boys. Looks like number 1, Cody. 2, Tim. 3, Matt and I. Number 4, Austin. Boo. That's all right. Thank you guys for voting in the chat.
Is this a snake draft? Do I get 4 and 5?
No.
Or are we doing this NFL draft where it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah, I think that's how we.
4.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need a Bills fan to come in here so that way they can negotiate a into the first round trade with you or something, because that's kind of Chiefs tradition, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
And then it looks like we have our first comment on that. Reseeding is a knee-jerk reaction to the NFC North from last year. You will always have to, the heavy divisions and weak divisions, just keep it simple. No, I agree with that. And again, it seems to be the same kind of weak division each year, right? Like Cody had mentioned with the NFC South. And yeah, I think the North last year was kind of I don't remember really seeing that often where both teams were kind of in the 13-14 win range where all they needed to do was win a game. I mean, like you guys were talking about earlier, just win your games, and we're not having this discussion at all. So that was a good question there by Matt. We have our draft order. Does anybody else have anything to say before we get going?
Hey, if I may tell a little story, just real quick. So I was interacting with a bigger podcaster's Instagram page, and he put me in this group. Well, it's nothing but Raider fans. Just going down, it's just Raider. And I messaged him. I was like, hey, man, I really do appreciate this. Like, I really do. But you do know I'm not a Raider guy, right? Like, I'm a Chargers fan. And he's like, no, it's cool. I will say, reading some of the comments today in that chat, there are some very humble Raider fans out there that I didn't think actually existed. I thought it was just all trash talking Raider fans. So I want to tip my hat off to the real Raider fans that actually, aren't like, oh yeah, we're going to dominate, blah, blah, blah. No, there's actually some fans that are like, hey, if we get 4 wins, I would be ecstatic. Anything over 4 wins, I'm happy with. So I just, it was a really cool story I wanted to share with you guys. I'm in a group of nothing but Raider fans. So
sounds awful.
I don't respond a lot. I just post my link, really, honestly.
Yeah, right. And I had mentioned yesterday that, Chiefs and Broncos, I want to interact with the Raiders and Chargers fans. I really do. Just because not only, it really is a fun division when you think about it, guys. And we're not going to spend too much time talking, but that's kind of the whole point of the War Room here, is talking about what makes this division so great and why. But I do. So what we're hoping to do every episode is opening up the chat for a question of the night. This is basically you guys who are watching, whether it's on YouTube, whether any of the other ones. We want you guys to ask questions in the chat. We'll monitor the chat throughout the show, and we'll select a question of the night for you to be featured at the end of the show. Basically, you're going to hear us debate and or talk, or Tim and my brother, who knows. we will basically pick a question, and that's how we end our show. And that's something that we want to do to get more interaction with you all. Again, this is why we're doing it, is for you guys. And we kind of just, we thought it'd be really fun to have you guys ask us questions and basically be a part of the show, because essentially it's for you guys. So I want to lay out this NFL flag. So obviously, if you guys didn't hear, last week, the Olympics made flag football official, Team USA. I was going more in depth in some of this stuff, which is wild to me, that I think there's only one NFL player allowed per squad or something like that. That it's so they can't basically just make up a team of NFL players, which is what we're about to do, by the way. But that's what makes it fun. But this is the AFC West edition. So basically you have 10 picks, 5 offense, 5 defense. That's the roster size that the Olympics are going to be going with. And
How long do we have for these picks? I just out of curiosity.
Like 5 seconds, dude. Like
yeah, how much time do you need, Tim?
I mean, it depends on. I mean,
don't be a
round?
typical Charger and take all the time.
He can't think without his mustache. All right.
Yeah. You know, I lost the mustache before the show, so it's
you guys
I don't know where it went.
Please make sure to return it to Tim. He's looking for it. But no, man, it should be 5 to 10 seconds. Like we're not getting a minute and a half. You're not getting 2 minutes.
No, I don't want like a minute and a half. Like 10, 15 seconds. Because like as we get to like the, you know, like the 6, 7 rounds, like I mean, like we're really gonna have to pick through some of these players.
That's true. I mean,
I'm not gonna lie. Like I thought we were only doing offense, so like I'm really gonna have to. Like,
weren't you texting us that you were working on notes all weekend? Like you're the most prepared one here.
Right.
So
I really thought it was just offense. I thought it was just offense. I'm like, oh, breeze it.
Oh, did we forget to tell you there's also a special teams element, Tim?
Oh well. I guess I'm screwed. I mean, I got the second pick, so like I'll just take the kicker first. I don't care. All right, let's get this started.
all right. So as I stated, thanks to the chat, the draft order, Cody, Tim, Matt, and I, who are splitting as Bronco fans, and then as it should be, the Chiefs going last.
Super Bowl champs or losers.
Let's not look into that too much here. So Cody, first annual NFL flag football is underway.
All right, so this is easy, folks. There's really no answer that's acceptable other than the player that we're going to pick with our first overall, because we need someone that's obviously fast, shifty, dynamic, and that the only player that fits that entire mold is Ashton Jeanty, number 1 overall. He'll be my running back slot, and he's going to be the guy that's
not even that fast.
And he wasn't even going to give Tim a chance to put Hampton over Jeanty. He said, screw this. We're getting this out of the way now.
We're nailing this right now.
Well, there you have it. Ashton Jeanty, Boise State running back, number 1 off the board. Tim.
You know, I'm going to go on a counterpart of that and go Jahdae Barron for my DB.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I'm actually really surprised by that based on what team he plays for and who else is on that team. But either way, I like it. It's still a Bronco. Mm-hmm. Tim's starting to become a Broncos fan, I see.
We're going to see his logo behind him turn orange next week.
Hell.
Hey, it's a possibility. It's a possibility.
Matt, where are we going round 1?
I'm going to go on the defensive side of the ball, too, and I'm going to take Pat Surtain. Got that defensive player of the year.
You guys realize we have to score points in this thing, right?
But you can't really score points if you have a good secondary.
You really do.
All right. Well, I'm somebody who thinks quarterback position is extremely important. I think flag football, though, I don't know the rules, so I don't know if they're able to scramble and whatnot. That's really was my deciding factor, but I want my quarterback, and I want Bo Nix.
Hey!
Ooh.
All right.
Let's go.
Broncos love, boys. Cody, round 2.
All right, round 2. Obviously, we're going to need a guy that's going to be throwing the football all over the field and also a guy that can escape when being rushed. Patrick Mahomes. We're going to go with Patrick Mahomes because whoever my weapons are, he's going to be able to deliver the ball, and he's going to get out of pressure defense. Patrick Mahomes with the number 2.
Well,
can you imagine?
If you're going Patrick Mahomes, then I'm just going to go and take my boy Justin Herbert and get the quarterback out of the way. I got plenty of wide receivers, plenty of running backs to pick from, so give me Justin Herbert.
Well, I did not at all see this going this way at all. Shit. All right. Well, I'm going Marvin Mims. You got to have a receiver. And like you said, there's not really a special teams element to it, but you need the shifty guys. So give me my boy Marvin.
Yeah.
I like Marvin. I thought we were building our own team. That was a receiver I used for me. With that being said, I want like a shifty, fast dude, right? So I actually give me Brashard Smith.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
Smith over Hampton, the blasphemy from you, Austin.
What?
No, hey, Hampton isn't like a fast back. He's explosive, but he's not fast. Like,
but you have
stuff doesn't matter. Like you have to be shifty and
He's
stuff.
not, because
Well-
I was bored yesterday, so I played NCAA 25 and I was North Carolina. Omarion Hampton is not fast on that game at all, and I was getting pissed because I had like 21 carries for like 94 yards, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" Either way,
I would average like 500 yards a game with Genty when I played. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, what do you play on freshman?
all right, Cody, round 3.
All right, round 3, we're going to need a receiver to round this whole thing out. And I want a reception juggernaut. So give me Ladd McConkey.
Nice.
Solid.
All
Tim?
right, so we got round 3. I'm looking at some of these names on the board, and there's kind of one that's just kind of standing out to me right now, and that's Xavier Worthy.
Woo, that's a good one.
Justin Herbert's strong arm and Xavier Worthy's speed. I like that combination.
All right. Well, for me, Denver still needs a running back. We've had running back issues for 3 years, and I think the notable one on the board is going to be Najee Harris. So I'm going to take Najee Harris.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Has
Oh,
Hampton been picked yet?
He is not.
No.
Okay, that's interesting.
This is flag football, not real football.
Oh, okay. I was just
This is interesting.
interesting.
Man, this is good times. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my weapons because I just feel like flag football, you need the weapons. I had Ladd as my top guy after Brashard Smith, so that hurt. But I'm gonna go after the next one. So I want Troy Franklin.
Oh, that's a good one.
And I can't wait until we get a chance when we get closer to the season, because I'm actually really high on Troy Franklin this year. I think he's going to be better. I think full off season under Sean Payton. So that excites me a little bit. Cody, start us off round 4.
All right, round 4. I'm going to need to go on the defensive side. So I'm going to go Trent McDuffie, DB from KC. I think I need a ball hawk out there to combat whatever weapons you guys have.
Nice. All right, so I got my quarterback and I got a wide receiver. I really want to solidify that secondary, and I'm taking safety Derwin James.
Woo. Okay, it's a good one.
I do love Derwin James. Not going to lie.
Yeah, he's a beast.
All right, I'm going pass catcher. Give me Brock Bowers.
Woo-hoo. Solid.
So just so the Broncos people know, that is all.
Wait, I thought it was only running back and wide receiver. I didn't know that we could use tight
Well,
ends.
technically a wide receiver. Get out of here with that.
Come on now. It's a
Just
wide
because the Chargers
receiver.
don't have one doesn't mean you need a.
Homeboy was putting up receiver numbers last year.
Right.
I'm taking
That's
Brock
because
Bowers.
he was the whole offense last year.
That's
right.
Fine. He's going to
Yeah.
be mine. That's whole offense this year. So.
All right. Okay. I wish I would have known that. I wish I would have known that we could have used tight ends, but hey, that's okay. That's all right.
Tim, you're not you without your mustache. All right.
No, I'm really not. Like maybe I shouldn't have shaved it off. So
All right. I like the idea of everyone going defense. Does it have to be defensive back? Like, can we just pick a defensive?
It's whatever defensive player or rusher, I think. So
It's a rusher
it's
and 4
DB, safety, and 1 edge rusher.
Okay. Well, I was just going to
You
pick
get 2
4
DBs?
defensive players, but I guess if we're just going the safeties route and corner route, you guys kind of took all the stud ones, but damn, Derwin James did go. Sorry, I'm keeping track of the draft, so I'm trying to figure out names that are still available. I'm gonna go with rusher. I don't know if you're like the rushing rules, but I'm gonna pick the most athletic rusher that I know in our division. Not pass rush moves, but I'm gonna go Nick Benito.
Hell yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Round 5. Cody.
all right. So speaking of rusher, I need a guy that's going to put his hands on everybody at every chance he gets. Give me Max Crosby as my rusher.
Nice.
I honestly thought that was going to be your number 1 overall pick. Not even going to lie.
Yeah, for real.
I really wanted to make a statement with the Genty one. I don't know if that came across that way. Hopefully the audience
It
feels
did.
that.
It definitely did. Tim.
Okay, so I feel like my defensive secondary is kind of good right now. I got a corner and I got a safety. I got my quarterback. I don't have a running back yet, but what better way to score points than to have a big body wide receiver? And I am going Dante Thornton Jr. 6'5", 4.3 speed. Let's go.
Can't hate it. Solid.
Matt?
Yep, I think I need to get someone in that pass rush too. And since Benito's off the board, I'm going to go with my guy, my favorite player, Jonathan Cooper, top 5 in pressure rate this season. So I'm going to go with Jonathan Cooper.
Damn,
Nice.
I was hoping he'd keep falling. It's a good one.
Good. Matt read my mind on that. I was like,
I'm going to go with a defensive back. I know he's a Charger, and I think they're going to finish last, but I still think this dude has a little bit of skill to him. I don't really remember his first name or how to say it, but it's the corner from the Chargers still. Tarheeb still. Is that it?
I'm not really good with the pronunciation either. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, the not freshman, the rookie from last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
round 6, as we were just cruising right along. I like this.
Oh, shoot. This is where it gets tough because, I mean, do I want to go offense or do I want to go defense a little bit? This is where we stress out a little bit, fellas. All right. I'm going to need a guy with great hands and guy that can just run a bunch of routes like Ladd, because we're not going to go too vertical. We're going to get a guy that just catches everything. So give me Jacoby Myers.
Oh, Jacoby Myers. I like that.
My brother loves that guy in fantasy football.
Dude's reliable and catches legitimately everything.
Yep.
Before then, my brother was a huge Hunter Renfrow fan too, so I think he may actually be a Raiders fan.
Hey, come on over to the dark side. It's good and black. So
I will never, but you guys do get a good player every now and again.
Tim.
I just think I need a running back now. For running back's sake, somebody's got to, take the handoffs from Justin Herbert every now and again. And I'm going to go with, I can't believe it, but Isaiah Pacheco. I can't believe he's still there. He's kind of underrated as in terms of speed. We all kind of know him as for his power, but he is actually a pretty quick little fella. So,
Yeah, no, I like him, but just watching him run and how he runs, Denver could definitely use a running back like that. So hopefully RJ Harvey, maybe come like even half of that. Just give me 100 yards this year in a game, please.
Yeah, right. Jesus.
Give me 100 yards. All right, so we got to go corner, right? Because we already had Pastor. So I'm going to take McMillan from Denver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over Riley Moss. I get it, but yeah.
I'm not sold on him either. I got you, Corey.
All right.
I'm gonna show some love to some big uglies here. I know we need a center, especially with these teams are just gonna have legit pass rushers, right? Like Max is out there, so I'm gonna give big ugly some love, and my center is gonna be Creed Humphrey.
Oh, all right.
Ooh. It's not a bad pick.
Also, just so you know, when I was reading the positions here, the center doesn't have to be an actual center. It's just the person who is to give the ball to the quarterback, and then they're allowed to run a short route. So,
well, that changes everything.
Could you imagine Creed Humphrey out there running some stick routes?
Dude, I was doing some research, and I was going to do Andre James or, the Raiders guard. And then I was reading the rules, and I was like, oh, wait, it can be almost anybody. And so I was like, it'd be kind of cool to have a center out there, but I don't know if that'll work. So
the rusher can just rush the quarterback. Anyway,
they start 7 yards back either way.
Okay. So then I'm obviously not going to pick a center, a true traditional center. If they just hand the quarterback and run like a little route, I'm going to want somebody who did that for a couple years in Jacksonville. He would catch 13 passes for 44 yards from Trevor Lawrence. Give me Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram. Nice.
It's a good one.
Rolling right along. Round 6. Cody.
All right. I feel like I need to go defense over here, so I'm going to go the DB Dante Jackson to go opposite of my other guy who I just already forgot. I wrote it down. Oh, McDuffie. Excuse me.
Nice. I was actually going to take him right there, so that was a good pick. I'm going to go with another shifty wide receiver. he
this gonna
doesn't
be your
produce.
center then?
No, I still got a wide receiver spot.
You have Worthy, Thornton, and Pacheco. We only had 3 receiver running back slots.
Well,
everyone-
that changes everything. Okay, so just give me Khalil Mack because I don't want to hold anything up. Just give me Khalil Mack.
All reliable.
I mean, I still love Khalil Mack.
I like Khalil Mack. Matt, I think you're up.
Yeah.
Yep. This is the other GM to Corey and mine's draft, and this is Aiden, and he has decided that we're going to take Talanoa Hufanga as our safety.
You're gonna make me spell that.
Don't pretend like you can spell, Austin.
Just sound it out.
It's not right, but I know what I mean when I put it. So my next one, I'm obviously gonna need one more pass catcher. I'm gonna go with your AFC Offensive Rookie of the Year this year, and I'm gonna get Trey Harris.
Ooh. Calling a shot already. Okay.
Moving right along, round 7.
All right. So I think I need to get a center here.
Yep.
You know what? Let's go with old reliable. Let's go with Travis Kelce. Be a guy that can give the ball to Mahomes and do a short little route. Why not? Let's go Kelce.
Nice. I mean, his brother played, so he's probably has some experience.
Shit, I hope so.
Yeah. Timmy.
Okay, so if memory serves me correct, I got my edge rusher. I do have 1 DB. I do have a safety. Give me Darian Porter.
Ooh, that's a nice one.
You know, he's tall, he's got good speed, and just give me him to shut down some of your guys' offenses.
Well, Matt, I think I'm reaching here, but we're going Geno Smith.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a choice.
I was just in case someone decides they want 2 quarterbacks on their roster. Weirdos.
I almost did that just so that way you guys couldn't, but
That's fine. I would have put Stidham in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would have taken Stidham, but
I feel like putting Hampton as my 3rd DB though, because I feel bad that he's not going to get drafted.
See, that's weird you said that. I was about to ask if I could draft like Rashee Rice to be my defensive back. You know what I mean? Like we don't necessarily position it up, but for just this sake, I'll stick with defensive backs, and that's what I need. I'm gonna get Chiefs rookie Noel Williams. He's big. He's good in man coverage. So give me that to combat some of your guys' big weapons out here.
All right. Cody.
Oh, man, this is getting tougher the deeper we go. So I think we got 2 more rounds, right?
Yep.
All right. Let's go with – well, I feel like what's trusty is the Broncos secondary. So I'm going to go with Brandon Jones for my 3rd DB spot. Now I just need a Raider, and I can complete all 4 DBs from a different team.
I love Brandon Jones. He was actually an underrated signing last year, in my opinion.
He really was.
Timmy.
Well, yeah. I don't even know. What do I need here? I need a center.
Center and DB.
Man. Hey, who's that? Chief? Is it Fulton?
Christian Fulton.
Yeah, let me have him because why not?
I do like that pickup. Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Matt, where are we going?
You know what? We need a center too.
No, we got Brock Bowers.
Oh, you want? Okay, fine. Fuck it. We don't need a center. Never mind.
Well, that opens up another receiving weapon for you guys.
Sure does.
So you know what? I'm gonna take Cortland Sutton. I'm gonna take Sutton to compliment
Nice.
Mahomes.
Solid.
Sign me up for 13 touchdowns for him this year.
All right. I need a DB. I'm gonna need that center field guy. Give me Jaden Hicks from the Chiefs.
That's who I was. That was my him or Cooks was going to be my pick before I went Geno.
All right, we're back to Cody making his final pick. Right now, you need a DB.
All right, final DB pick here. We're just gonna complete the divisional DB pick here. We're gonna go Isaiah Palomeo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Timmy.
You know, I feel like I need like a kind of like another like weapon, and I know I need a center. And seeing how you guys kind of went, I'm gonna put Jared Wiley as my center, who can also kind of like Kelce go out and catch a pass if I need him to. So give me Jared Wiley.
That's a solid pick, honestly. It wouldn't be me, and I hate that he's on the Raiders. I really do.
Go ahead.
Give me Mello Dotson.
Mello.
Yes, sir.
Mello don't miss.
All right. And Mr. Irrelevant in our draft. I think Broncos fans might appreciate it, but I like him as a corner. So give me Riley Moss.
Oh,
Okay.
All right.
You're secondary.
Should we recap real quick,
Well,
Austin?
you know,
and
T. Higgins.
Remind the listeners of all the picks.
Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and read it off, starting with Cody's team?
Yeah, so Cody has Mahomes and Kelce as the quarterback center combo. Then he has Genty, Ladd, and Myers as his receiver running backs. Pass rusher is Max Crosby. And then secondary of McDuffie, Jackson, Jones, Palomeo. Yeah.
That guy.
Second pick, I believe that was the Chargers and Timmy.
Yep.
He's got Herbert and Wiley with that quarterback center combo. He's got Worthy, Thornton Jr., and Pacheco for his receivers and running backs. Rusher of Khalil Mack. And a secondary of Jahdae Barron, Derwin James, Porter, and Christian Fulton. Broncos with Matt and Corey. They got Geno Smith and Cortland Sutton for their quarterback center combo. Then they got Marvin Mims, Najee Harris. I guess Brock Bowers was your guys' center. You switched that up on me. So Geno Smith and Bowers as the quarterback center with Sutton, Mims, and Najee Harris as their receiver running backs. Cooper as their rusher, and then Pat Surtain, McMillian, Halulafunga, and Mello Dotson in the secondary. And then Chiefs, for me, last was Bo Nix and Evan Ingram, quarterback center, with Brashard Smith, Troy Franklin, and Trey Harris, receiver running back. Rusher of Benito, and a secondary of Tarheeb Steele, Noel Williams, Jaden Hicks, and Riley Moss.
And we will post those teams as well to the socials. That way everybody can see it, give you guys a chance to vote on them, and we will
Who won?
We will
clearly me. Not even close. Clearly.
Said no Raiders fan ever.
Yeah.
So we'll post that to the socials. We'll have you guys vote on it. Who won? Who's got the best AFC West edition flag football team? Who would you want to play with? On that note, guys, that actually went rather well. How you guys feeling? Timmy, how you feeling about your team?
You know, I feel pretty solid. I kind of wish I would have understood that we could have had a tight end play any position. That probably would have changed my draft strategy just a bit. But all in all, you know, I am super happy. I got a great secondary. I got a great quarterback. The receiving core is fast. I got the big body wide receivers. So all in all, I am really happy with the way things fell for me at number 2.
Cody, tell us why your team.
Why my team's going to dominate. I got Patrick Mahomes. I got his reliable Travis Kelce. I got Ashton Genty for a running back. Plus, I got Crosby rushing. I've got 4 of some of the elite cornerbacks in all of the division. Just no fly zone. Good luck, guys.
Hey, real quick, I just want to say that this is flag football, not tackle football. You know, Ashton Genty came out and made the comment, you know, why wouldn't you draft the one guy that nobody can tackle? Well, you don't have to worry about tackling. All you got to worry about is catching him and grabbing a little flag. So, you know, that's probably why I didn't go on Martin Hampton. in the first round because this is flag football, not tackle football. So maybe Ashton Jeanty isn't going to be as great in this format than he would be in the NFL.
Well, I think it'd be harder for defenders to get the flag from the most shifty back in all of football. So that would be why Ashton Jeanty being on my team makes a lot of sense.
Shiftiest back.
Don't think so?
That's a stretch.
All right, we gotta continue. Just know that my team's number one. We gotta.
This discussion isn't over.
Oh yeah, no, this is gonna be all season, guys. Get
all
ready.
Season.
Matt, why us? Why our team?
Well, one, we have a top 5 defense. I mean, if you look at, we have Pat Surtain, Defensive Player of the Year. We have Jonathan Cooper, top 5 in quarterback pressure. You have a guy that Austin can't pronounce his name anyway. So, shout out to my boy Aiden for that one. I think we have a solid defense. I think we got speed as receivers, and we got size as a receiver, Cortland Sutton. And we have an up-and-coming young tight end who just dominated last year. Unfortunately, he plays for a bad team with 4 fans as their fan base. So I think we're going to do well.
I don't hear anything wrong, but Cody, do you want to say anything to that?
I'll let Matt have it because of course, I don't friendly fire around here. So he's cool with me. Although we gotta be careful nowadays because we might get a little testy in the regular season. So.
Oh God, yeah, no, that absolutely. Matt, it dawned on me.
We are in the war room after all, so
we are in the war room. So again, we'll post those draft results to the socials, and you guys will be able to vote. And or where did we miss? Who missed? Who should have been on the team? This is the AFC West edition. That's why you're not going to see other names. It would have been probably more bigger if we did. But again, we're the AFC West War Room, so we kept it AFC West. That's how our show is going. Matt, it dawned on me. You had a second question today that we kind of worked on with build your own quarterback. Do you want to walk us through that?
Yeah. So I don't know. Is it closing the show? But you know what? Whatever. Fuck it. It's our show. We can do whatever we want. So yeah. So this idea actually came to me, one, because I'm medium fat and I ordered a pizza, and then the option was create your own pizza. And I said, hey, why not create your own quarterback? So basically, you take any quarterback throughout the league, and you can take specific traits and make the perfect QB. How would you design your QB? So, Cody, my guy, go ahead and build your perfect QB. Okay,
so just a quick question: the attributes are size, arm strength, vision, stamina, and what's the other one?
No, we have arm strength, vision, mobility, accuracy, and size.
Wow. Okay. So hang on. I have my notes here. Hold on. So if I went arm strength, I'm definitely going with Josh Allen. That arm strength right there is top in the NFL. If I had to go with speed, obviously it's Lamar Jackson. Vision would have to be Joe Burrow. And I know I'm missing another one. So hang on, guys. There it is. So mobility, that would be obviously Lamar Jackson. Size, gosh, who would I want as that big body size? I'll have to come back to that one. Accuracy, shoot, there's so many options at quarterback. Okay, I'm going to do this again at the start. Josh Allen for arm strength. Vision would be Joe Burrow. Mobility would be Lamar. Accuracy, I'm going to say, I'm going to get a lot of flack for this one. Accuracy, I'm going to say Justin Herbert. And then size, I think I like the size of, I don't want to say Josh Allen again because he's got the arm strength, but I'll go with Trevor Lawrence for size. I like a tall quarterback, and I think that would be nearly a perfect build because you got a guy that can see over everyone. He's got arm strength to throw it out of the stadium, mobility, great anticipation. That would be my QB build.
To me.
Okay, so I think I have like a slightly different approach in this, and for that I'm sorry. But size, I have Justin Herbert. Mobility, I have Jalen Milroe because a lot of people are saying Jalen Milroe is arguably faster than Lamar Jackson because if you remember, Lamar never ran the 40, guys, so we don't actually know how fast Lamar is. We know he's fast, but, Jalen Milroe has 4.3 speed is all I'm saying, and that is confirmed. So mobility, I'm going to go Jalen Milroe. Arm strength, I'm going to go Josh Allen. Accuracy, now I'm probably going to get a lot of pushback on that, and this is fine, but for accuracy and ball placement, I think Tua is a very good, like, he puts the ball where he wants. He's very accurate. So I like Tua for my accuracy.
Let him know NY. Let him know NY.
For IQ, I'm going to go Patrick Mahomes because, what better than, right now the greatest quarterback in football? He doesn't take very many sacks. He knows when to throw the ball away. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot. I know he had a little bit more interceptions this past season than in recent memory, but I still like Patrick Mahomes. But mechanics, I like Joe Burrow for his mechanics because he has really good footwork. He's another one of those that he can put the ball exactly right where he wants it. So for mechanics, I went with Joe Burrow. So my list is slightly different in the terms of the categories, and for that I apologize.
Austin?
Yeah, so for arm strength, everyone's talking about getting flack, but you guys are going to hear a name that you're probably like, what? But if you're a college football fan, you remember the arm this dude had. So if we're just talking pure arm strength, I'm going Joe Milton.
Oh, yeah.
Like the dude, like pure arm strength. Now, I'm not saying good quarterback, but pure arm strength, give it to me.
Hang on, Austin, real quick, because I see Cody has this really confused look on his face. So let me break it down to you. Joe Milton, they actually say, has a stronger arm than Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Like, he can literally throw it 80, 85, 90 yards. So I'm going to back my boy Austin here and, go watch some Joe Milton highlights and you'll see his arm strength.
Yeah.
Joe Milton, who was drafted by the Patriots, traded to the Dallas Cowboys, basically is waiting to be a starter
we didn't
whenever.
say talent now. We're not saying talent, are we? We said arm strength.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying I want him running my team or anything, but we're just talking about give me the.
We just want that shoulder.
Yes.
Yeah, just
got it.
Vision, I'm gonna go with my boy Matt Stafford. The dude's out here seeing things, doing Patrick Mahomes things before it was cool, so it didn't really get noticed. And I love Matt Stafford, so I wanted him on this list somewhere. Mobility, I don't know how it's anything but Lamar. I don't need to know a 40 speed to know that this dude's quicker than everyone else on the field. Truth be told, just watch Lamar highlights, and he's making NFL dudes look slow.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me. Accuracy, I know he's not technically on a team, but he isn't retired either. But if we're talking accuracy and ball placement, give me Aaron Rodgers in all of my lifetimes.
Is this pre-Achilles injury or?
Even with the Jets, he was still dropping dimes. But yeah, I'm just in general.
I don't know about that.
Nah, just Aaron Rodgers. Give me in every lifetime that I have. Give me him. And then size, I think it's a no-brainer with Josh Allen. Just from a size of height and build, he's kind of your ideal quarterback. Those are the 5 I went with, but I agree with Timmy as far as IQ goes. I would have taken Mahomes. Pretty smart quarterback, knows certain things. So, but I only did those same 5 as Cody, and that's my quarterback.
Corey.
Arm strength, it's going to be Josh Allen. That was easy for me. I know Joe Milton, but Josh Allen, I remember watching his pro day thinking, hell yeah, Denver's about to land this dude easily. And then they broke my hearts and went with Bradley Chubb. Vision, I went Patrick Mahomes, the no looks, him, Travis, they have that on point. That was pretty easy. Mobility, again, Lamar Jackson, that's a no-brainer. The accuracy, I know Jason said no Goff. You just had to wait, man. I picked Jared Goff as accuracy. Not the prettiest of football sometimes, but as far as accuracy goes, I'm a Jared Goff guy. And then size, I went Joe Flacco. I'm kind of like Cody. I didn't want to pick Josh Allen for both, but if you think about it, Joe Flacco's build when he first came out of Delaware State it was ideal. You could even have thrown arm strength on for Dirty Joe, his arm strength, what he was able to do when he came out too. But I'm going with Joe Flacco for size, and that rounds out what I had.
Nice. All right. So for me,
Nice.
I'm going to go with, for vision, I'm going to go with Pat Mahomes. I mean, his ability to just find any player in a collapsing pocket, no matter where he's at, he can just find someone. So I'm going to go with his vision. Arm strength, Joe Burrow for that. Mobility, I think we're all in the consensus. Lamar Jackson is the most mobile quarterback in the league. I know, buddy. I agree. For size, Josh Allen. I mean, he's just a tough quarterback. Okay. For Josh Allen, I think he's just a tough quarterback to bring down because of his size. So I'm going to go Josh Allen. Accuracy, I'm actually going to go with also on this one and say Matt Stafford. And then if we're going IQ, I actually picked Bo Nix for that just because he, first-year rookie, gets thrown into Sean Payton's offense, who runs one of the most complex offenses, and he just picked it up and ran with it. So I'm going to go with Bo Nix's IQ on that.
Yeah, I think the only question I have for not just your list, Matt, but for the group, did anyone go back and forth when it came to mobility? Well, I guess not Matt's or not Timmy because he picked Milrow. But for the rest of us, did you go back and forth between like Lamar and Jaden Daniels?
I think Lamar for me was always mobility. I don't think there was anyone close to him. If Jaden Daniels came close to any particular category that I was debating, it was probably going to be vision, if I'm being honest, because for a rookie, he was extremely accurate, great anticipation. So if there was like a close second besides Joe Burrow, I would have said Jaden Daniels.
Could you imagine if we put Kyler Murray's legs on Josh Allen?
Oh my goodness.
That would be the funniest thing.
Or even like Joe Flacco, Kyler's little leg just.
You know, I'm actually shocked that nobody picked Kyler Murray for the mobility. You know, he is a really mobile quarterback. I do still think that Jalen Milrow is slightly more mobile than Kyler Murray, but I wanted to go. I knew a lot of you guys were going to go Lamar, for obvious reasons. But I was like, man, I got to go with somebody different.
Yeah,
and
I get what you're going at, but this dude hasn't played one NFL game yet. So how do we know what his mobility is like against actual NFL like linebackers and like doing it at Alabama? That's close. I get it, SEC. That's close to the NFL.
That's about as close as you're going to get right there.
But it's not. But at the same, it's still not the NFL. Like it's still not Fred Warner. It's still not those guys that he's going to face. Jared Verse, some of those other guys in that division that he's going to go up against. I mean, I get where you're coming from and whatnot. I'm just saying, for me, maybe this time next year when we're building a flag football team, maybe then I can, if I see him, which I still think they're going to have packages for him. Even, I think he'll get some field time, obviously. But yeah, no, I'm not on Milrow at all.
Yeah, I almost went with the Colts quarterback room here. Just for what you said, Timmy, I wanted to be a little different, right? So I almost went Daniel Jones for mobility, just because Daniel Jones is my boy and he's sneaky athletic, right? And then I almost went Anthony Richardson for size because, again, it's just size.
Right,
and like he's trucking people. So I almost showed the Colts quarterback room some love. But the realist in me overtook me on my list. But a little sneak. I just want to get a Daniel Jones shout out, honestly, because he's my boy and I hope he figures it out. But I think there's a lot of good options for some of these. But I think Lamar was kind of the obvious mobility one. So, Timmy, I respect you for thinking outside the box.
I mean, I could have went Jared Goff as the most mobile, right? No. So, again, that was build your own quarterback. And I know I typically thought we asked the questions at the beginning of the episode. That's my bad. I'm a shitty host today. Apparently, I'm not on my A game. I thought both questions came at the beginning and then whatnot. Either way, we were able to build our own quarterback. We built our own fantasy flag team, AFC West edition. Now let's get into kind of a topic that it's not really quite picking up steam. I mean, there's been a few people that have brought up possibly, what it would look like if the NFL were to do a lottery system. So basically, if you're not familiar with the lottery, the NBA does a lottery. I think MLB switched to a draft lottery as well. It's kind of a way of combating tanking, even though the NBA is rigged. And I mean, come on now. You don't trade Luka and turn around and get the number 1 overall pick to replace Luka with Cooper Flag. Come on.
My gosh, you guys! When they made that trade, Dallas was I think they were like the 4th seed when that trade happened. It's not like they were dead last and got worse.
If it wasn't,
they were the 4th seed.
Put the balls in front of everybody. draw them that way instead of having a dude walk out with the stack already in that order. That's all I'm saying. Either way, our discussion is NFL draft lottery. The NFL does everything typically better than all the other sports as far as draft ratings. Literally, the NFL does everything better. There's still certain things that I would pick college football over the NFL and what college football is able to do. But for this sake, NFL draft lottery, Cody, good or bad idea?
Listen, I think my position's a little different. I think the lottery did a service to the NBA where it stopped teams like the Sixers. What they would do for many years is they would be obviously the worst team in the NBA, and they'd be rewarded the number one pick. So to combat that, to at least like, okay, listen, if you're going to be the worst team, fine, but you're not going to be the overwhelming number one pick. So that way you stack up, draft picks. You're going to have the most amount of opportunity to get a number one pick, but still go through like, a system of like, okay, you have a 14% chance, whereas the 10th worst team gets a 1% chance. So everyone gets a chance, but obviously as the worse your record is, the better your chance, but it caps at a certain number. So that way, overwhelmingly, you're not a 75% chance of getting the number one pick. So for me, I actually like that the NBA did that. Now, it is ironic that the same team that let Luka go to my Lakers, I will point out, they also get the number one draft pick. I don't think it has anything to do with it's a rigged system, because honestly, why didn't San Antonio get the number one pick then? Like, they had two opportunities to get a number one draft pick, and they got within the top 10, but they didn't. Neither one of them got the number one pick. And for example, Charlotte Hornets should have gotten the number one pick, so that way Cooper Flagg stays in Charlotte. But that's not the situation. But for the NBA, for the NFL itself, I think there's a lot of fun that goes around, like knowing that this team, and for example, my Raiders were jockeying for the number one draft pick for a majority of last season. So yeah, there is this fun of like, oh, if we keep losing, we'll for sure get it. Like, there is some funniness to the whole, like, if this is the absolute worst team, they will get the number one pick. But I do think it is interesting to add a draft lottery element to it. So that way, like, teams like a wild card team maybe that was just on the outside looking in gets an opportunity to get like a top 5 pick rather than a bottom 20 pick. I think that's a little interesting twist of like how teams that are on that bridge of being great, but they need maybe a top 10 pick, but they don't want to trade to get into a top 10. I think it's just an element to think about. Do I want it to go completely there? Probably not, just because the draft as it is, knowing each draft order is fun in and of itself. But I think the NFL could have some fun knowing that, like, my Raiders, who have the higher chance of getting the number one pick, don't get the number one pick because, the Chargers, for example, maybe even though they had a 3% chance, they got the number one pick, hypothetically. I think there's a little fun into that where it's like, well, we sucked better. Why don't we get the number one pick? It doesn't matter what your win-loss record is in terms of getting the number one pick now. It's like there's other factors that you can't control, but the ultimate goal is stay competitive because it doesn't guarantee you the number one pick. So that's why I'm not opposed to a lottery. I think it's actually a fun idea. I just think people in the NFL hate change. Like, any rule change when it comes to tackle, we're against. Any rule change against the kickoff, we're against. Anything about the onside kick, we're against. Anything about the tush push, we're against. Like, the NFL hates change, and this is like something that would turn the NFL draft on its head. And I like that idea, but I think a lot of people who are stuck in what the NFL is and does don't like the idea because, again, not a lot of people like change in the NFL. They want it the certain way, but each time the NFL has expanded it, we do end up liking it. We just kick and scream about it when they change it.
Tim?
All right. So great points, Cody. Great points. Absolutely. Right there at the end, you said the NFL. I think people in general don't like change. Most people, they can't adapt, on the fly to change very well. So very well said there. I actually do have I'm going to break it down on both sides, and I'm not going to lie, the cons might get a little controversial. So I'm kind of mixed. Okay. I'm not going to lie. Pro, it would mean more meaningful games at the end. Teams aren't going to try and tank and, who are already eliminated. Now, I'm not saying that they do tank, but I mean, let's be real. It does kind of seem like the further we get into the season, if they're already out of playoff contention, they're like, oh, well, let's throw this out there. Let's try this. That's what the Patriots tried to do last year, and it backfired, and they actually won a game, and it hurt their draft position. I think the league would also benefit from having another show, like, have like a draft lottery show and have it like a 1 hour special or a 30-minute special even, and it'd be just another way for football fans to sit here and watch another show in the off season. We have the NFL Combine, we have the NFL Draft, do a draft, or we would have NFL Combine, NFL Draft, lottery show, NFL Draft. So it's kind of like another one of those right there to help us right before the draft, kind of, stay motivated. And, what better way than, finding out where your team's going to pick. Now, I do want to say that, it could be like a bad situation. Like, obviously, I don't want a playoff team being eligible, so there needs to be a cap. I think like maybe like the top 10 worst teams or something. You don't want to extend it much past that. But, if you just have the top 10 worst teams and you're like, okay, this team had the worst record, so they have a 25% chance, and this team has a 2% chance. I do think that would be good. Now, a con to this, and kind of like what Cody was saying about, being rigged, not being rigged, this could turn into a bad situation with Roger Goodell in control of the draft lottery. He could try to abuse that power and rig the NFL draft lottery in favor of what will bring in more ratings. I'm not saying he would, but you just never know. All in all, I'd be okay to try it and see how it works, kind of much like the NFL playoff rule. I'm okay trying it. If it doesn't work, just go back to the old way. No harm, no foul. So there's both sides, broken down. I told you it's going to be a little controversial. Sorry, Roger Goodell fans, if there's any.
I love a good Goodell controversy. Let's add another one to the list, huh?
Yeah.
He's already in cahoots with the Chiefs, so let's just add another one to the draft, huh?
I was going to say he's definitely not in cahoots with the Chargers, because if that was the case, we missed.
You guys
that
wouldn't have left San Diego if that was the case.
If that was the case, we would have had a Super Bowl by now. But
yeah, no, I don't really have as many awesome talking points as those two did. They both made really good points. I don't have anything against change. If I like the change that's proposed, and in this instance, I think it would be terrible. I don't like the idea of a lottery. I think if you suck, we were talking about, you want to reward division winners with a home playoff game. I think you should have the best chance of jumpstarting yourself from being bad with just getting the first overall pick. I like what you guys said a little bit of maybe doing something like it to put a little twist, like your own NFL twist on it. I could maybe get on board with something like that, depending on what would be proposed. If you want to snake the draft, cool, that's a change. Let's see how it goes. As Timmy said a few times, if it doesn't work, go back to how it was. But like just a straight up draft lottery, like just something inside of me, I don't think I would enjoy that. Again, and I may not see it in my lifetime for a long time if we put a cap on it, so it really wouldn't apply to me. But I think a draft lottery compared to what we have now, I wouldn't be a fan of it.
That's Matt. What about you?
Yeah, so everyone brought up very valid points, very good points. I'm taking a different approach. Like, I still don't want it, but I like unique, being unique. And if you think about it, the NFL, we don't have a best of 7 series in the playoffs. We don't have, we're not East and West, we're NFC North, AFC North, so on. So we have divisions. I like being unique. And so adding a lottery like the MLB, absolutely, he doesn't like it either. Sorry, guys.
You're good.
Go play with everybody.
It's a family show.
It is. So conforming doing what everyone else is doing, I'm not a fan of it. I think if they're gonna do a lottery, maybe just for the first overall pick. Just do it like that. Because how many times have the Cleveland Browns been the number 1 overall pick? And Corey, you and I get to say we've never been the number 1 overall pick. So it sucks to suck, but I think if they're going to make a change, maybe do it like that. But I like the way the NFL is right now. So I'd rather not do a lottery.
Yeah, and I'm on board with you too, Matt. I think you need to hold the owners to a standard. They need to spend the money. Like, with the NFL, it's not as much. Like, there's poverty franchises out there in the NFL, but I don't think the NFL is at the level of where the NBA, where the MLB, where some of these other leagues are. I think the NFL owners, they're in a pretty good spot. Money means everything to them. I do think a draft lottery would be another way for the NFL to generate money, and that's, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to for these guys is money. So while I don't think that they would do something like that, I do think it's something the owners would consider, just based on the fact that if it brings a couple million extra into their wallets, just based on what let's be honest, an NFL draft lottery show would outpace any other sporting event going on that night.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what it is. So again, the ratings would be there. That would put the money into their pockets, and they would kind of just go from there. But I'm with Matt. I get the other points that you guys have made, valid points, but at the end of the day, you're making enough money just from the NFL draft itself. No reason to change up what you're doing. And I like the idea of doing it at a different location each time. That's been awesome. It's been a great experience, kind of seeing the different crowds at each location that they've been. I think they're going to Cleveland soon, and I'm RIP to the NFL on that one. So, yeah, again, that's kind of where I'm at on that. Does anybody have any rebuttals on draft lottery based on what anyone has said?
No, I mean, it seems like we all kind of, I mean, we all didn't agree per se, but I mean, it seemed like we made points for both sides. So, I mean, we kind of each broke it down and said, hey, this is what I would like. This is what I wouldn't like. You know, shout out to Jason with that comment with the ping pong balls and the rubber ducks. So that's Jason from 3 from Deep. So
yeah,
NY.
Yes, sir.
I think what I'll say is I'll plant my flag on this. I would be in the camp of let's do an NFL. Well, where is it? No, anymore. I would be in the camp of let's do an NFL lottery, just because, again, like the NFL is always looking for something to make extra money because, you know, they're always losing it. So I think obviously, you know, having a draft lottery special, that would get a ton of eyeballs. The talk leading into that year's drafts about the controversy about a team getting the number 1 pick and this team not getting it, I think would make great content, not only for the NFL, but for us as well. Like, talk about those storylines that we can get into. And it's a change. Like, we're already updating this and that. I think adapting that, giving it, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 seasons. Let's see how it evolves. I think people would find enjoyment out of it more than they think. There's always going to be something about the NFL that there's controversy or that they don't like. Last year, it was always the Chiefs are being helped by the refs. Were there some examples where maybe that's true, maybe it's not? Yeah. Were there other occasions where other teams like the Lions seemed like they were the best team in the NFL until, you know, they went against the Commanders? It wasn't like that. So having certain teams, though, be in the similar position like what the NBA does, where, like, after you win a certain percentage of wins, you get only a certain amount of opportunities to get the number 1 pick. I think that would be for an interesting draft thing. And also, too, imagine if, like, for example, imagine if the Broncos made a trade with a team that was a lottery pick to begin with, and they kept that draft pick, and then their team just picked the number 5 pick because of that team's, you know, obviously opportunities, and they gave up that draft right. Now the Broncos get a top 5 pick, even though they went to the wild card, because that's how the lottery works if you get like that type of draft pick. So I think it make interesting content for the NFL. And I would say, like, I think the NFL should look into it and should do it. I think it'd be very interesting for the growth of where we're already at with the game.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think in the NFL does a salary cap too. So I look at the salary cap and what you're paying certain draft. Like, obviously teams go into free agency with a certain amount of money they're willing to spend on free agency, and then they use their last part of their money for, you know, first round picks. Does that mean we get less in free agency than what we already get? You know, I don't feel like free agency has been as exciting the last few years. Now, there's been moves, right? There's been stuff going on, but I think teams are playing it a little more closer to the vest. Players are looking for smaller, bigger deals. They want the 3-year, you know, up to $15 million per season. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that fluctuate in between that. Like, and again, I get it with the draft lottery, but that's just another aspect of being able to be like a Chiefs or a team that's, in the 25 to 32 range, consistently getting back in. It's like the Warriors a few years ago when they were able to pick, I think, the second overall pick coming off of finals, and they went with Wiseman from Memphis. But again, that's just wild to me. It does add an element of excitement to it. With the NFL being so close with their salary cap and compared to what the other sports are, I think they'd have to readjust some of those and how they're doing that.
Yeah.
Timmy, you got anything?
What's up?
You got anything on those?
No, you guys really covered it. I said what I had to say about the draft lottery. I'm all for it. Like, I've always been a person that can handle the change, so change doesn't bother me. Obviously, like I said, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So, but I'm always open. If it's going to make the league better and make football better, I'm always down for change.
Perfect, bro.
Yeah, no, I like change. Some change, but some change you don't like, right? But like just a straight up draft lottery, I think a couple of the things Cody kind of mentioned that like you could do, I think like an actual true proposal for that would maybe have me teeter a little bit. But for me, it's just right now, based off record, it kind of matches up with what I say for the playoff seeding, right? Like just go by record, do it, be universal. But I get what you guys are saying, adding an element, making some excitement. But, I kind of like the draft how it is. Not just the order, but I like going city to city. I like the big spectacle it is. Doing too much change, you might ruin that a little bit, but I don't mind change. Like some of the rule changes has been good. Some of the rule changes I thought I would hate. I come around on it and I like. So I think that was Cody who made that point with like up front you might actually hate it, but if you give it time, you'll actually enjoy it more than you think. So that would always be a possibility too. But I think I'd want what you guys said of make a twist on it, right? Don't do it how the other teams do it. Put your own stamp on it and don't just make it like your typical draft lottery. I would definitely be on board if the NFL did it where you do cap it at, you say your 8 worst teams, and you do bring out like the Powerball machine and you do it that way. Like A, you avoid the controversy, and B, like the fans get to enjoy this with you, right? Like if you're that 8th worst team and you have the worst odds and that first team that comes out isn't you, that second team isn't you, and now you start getting a little excited, I think I could get on board with something like that. But like you said, you'd have to put your own little stamp on it and make it unique.
Yeah, again, as we got more comments coming in, thanks again, guys, for the comments. Change for the sake of change is dangerous. It really is. The owners would never vote it in. I see the NBA lotto disappearing in the next 5 years. Hot take. Hey, that's not – it is a hot take, but one that I absolutely agree. You get guys like this, like they literally any ounce of money that they could lose, not for us. They want. How does it benefit us as billionaires? Which I would love for us to be able to experience that, so we could say, hey, we know what we would do with our billions of dollars. Yeah, if I was a billionaire and I was going to lose millions and millions of dollars based on something that could fall, yeah, it would scare me a little bit. And yeah, a couple $1 million isn't too much on my. But Cody, you were getting ready to say something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I know Jason, who's mainly NBA. He's also a diehard Giants fan, so it's not like he doesn't know what he's talking about. But my only pushback to what that argument is about the draft lottery going away is, again, I know that the owners maybe don't want negative publicity, but a lot of them, like, we'll use Jerry Jones as an example. Any time that he is in the news outlets, it's a win. Why? Because they're talking about Cowboys brand. Whether it's good or bad, you're making money on that. And so the NBA, around this whole controversy or whatever, they're making a lot of money based on the content just around, was the draft lottery rigged and all this other stuff. I think the NFL, to your credit earlier, Corey said this, that the NFL gets better numbers in games, views, and all that other stuff. Imagine if they did something similar and had the same sort of like controversy of like, did we think the Chicago Bears should have got the number 1 overall pick? They only had a 2% chance of getting the number 1 overall pick, and then they got it. Like, I think that will bring in more audiences and more money because viewers equals money. So if anything, I think the owners will actually make more money because now you're adding an extra event. Sure, they're going to have to pay expenses on certain parts of it, but they're also getting the revenue from the TV deal that comes from that, which means more money to the players, more money from advertisements, because they're going to sell that space almost like the Super Bowl. So I think that where we find like, oh, owners are going to lose money because maybe they're not going to get a high draft pick, even though they have the worst team. Yes, but they'll also make it back because of the viewership and the fan aspect of it. I think that's why if the NFL went that way, they're not going to be out on any money. If anything, they're going to find an extra revenue stream and go, oh, you know what? We can definitely capitalize on that. And also, I would say if the NFL really doesn't like the lottery aspect, maybe they should contact like the top 10 great fantasy football like draft rooms and ask them how they do creative drafts. So that way you want to come up with ideas, they'll come up with a great idea if you really want to change things up, because it sounds like the NFL's open to change. Like maybe we don't want to encourage team to be the worst team on the field because it's bad to watch during the regular season, but also like it gives teams incentivization of like, you don't have to be the worst team to get the number one pick.
Yeah, negative publicity makes the NFL money. Yeah, keep the Cowboys out your mouth.
Why are you saying that? And why you're a Giants fan, you should want the Cowboys on blast all the time.
Yeah, no, those are all great points. And it does seem like we do have a winner for our question tonight. I'm gonna ask the honorable mention question is from the 3 guys 6 balls last night. Which owner has the best haircut?
Which owner?
Give it up.
I had to comment and say, well, I mean, there's only one clear cut or weird cut, however you look at it. It's going to be the winner. So, again, thanks to those guys who asked them on Instagram last night. And it looks like the winner tonight is going to come from Boom Broadcasting, favorite rival player on another team all time.
Ooh, that's an easy one.
Is it an easy one? Well, then do the
Go
honors.
ahead, Austin.
Hey, real quick before I'm live on Kick as well, so they don't pop up, unfortunately. Kyle, we will answer that on another show. He's like, I want to hear Super Bowl predictions. We're gonna wait for a little closer to the season to give
let's
those.
do that.
And I can't wait to hear some of these rival players on another team, though.
Sorry, Matt, I didn't mean to cover up that face.
No, you're good.
So my brother actually didn't have to waste any time. He's ready to go. So favorite rival.
Yeah, well, this is one of my favorite players of all time anyway, and he happened to just play for the Broncos. So Champ Bailey for me.
Oh, nice.
I've always loved you guys have learned at this point, I love defense. At the time, running back still had value, so the Broncos were able to fleece at the time Redskins. Clinton Portis for Champ Bailey.
Fleeced.
Absolute fleece job. But Champ Bailey was really the reason. I mean, that era with like the Ravens defenses and stuff is also another reason that I love defenses. But Champ Bailey was really my first like defensive player love outside of Derek Thomas. I was a little too young, but he's also not on a rival team. But yeah, Champ Bailey for me, greatest cornerback of all time. I don't care who anyone else says. Champ Bailey, absolutely best corner of all time. My favorite non-Chief of all time. So that's why that was an easy one for me because, I mean, he's just one of my favorites in general, and he's on the Broncos. So right away I knew that one.
All right. Matt?
Yeah, this one I've been kind of going back and forth on. It came down between Junior Seau and Seawood. I actually had the privilege of meeting Junior Seau many, many moons ago, but
I'm jealous.
At the end of the day, I got to go with Seawood. I got to go with Seawood from the Raiders. I mean, you put that guy on any receiver and he's going to lock him down. And, you know, I have to side with I can't believe I have to side with the Raiders, but the tuck rule shouldn't have been a thing. You know, I think he got robbed there, but I got to go with Seawood.
That counts. Eagles, McNabb, go Cuse. All right. I love Donovan McNabb.
Absolutely.
That was kind of like the time I remember him at Syracuse. My God. That's where we're at. Timmy.
Okay, so there's just so many great options here. I mean, and I feel like this is like one of those really great questions. And I got to say, you know, he's still a current player. And I'm going to go with Mr. Max Crosby. I just absolutely like, he just screams football player. I mean, and he just screams like, hey, I'm going to rip your head off type player. And for me, he's a trash talker and all this, but like when it's time to play, when it's time to put those pads on, he's all gas and no brakes. So I have a lot of respect for Max Crosby, even though he plays for the Raiders and has to play the Chargers twice a year and wreaks havoc, on the quarterback and on the O-line. I have mad respect for Mr. Max Crosby.
No, yeah, I mean, I think everyone here can respect Max's game. Best trash talker as well. I remember they played the clip of him talking to Bo Nix, and he's like, "Bo, speak up, they can't hear you."
Yeah.
So again, and then him and Patrick Mahomes, seeing those guys, yeah, dude, Max Crosby for sure. Cody?
All right, so I've got two. One is more of a nostalgic one. So my nostalgic one is a Denver Bronco, John Elway, and it's really because growing up, when I was seeing them win their Super Bowls when I was young, my cousin Nick and I, shout out to Xbox Dad 559, we would watch those Super Bowl games, and he's a diehard Broncos fan. Goes all the way back to like Rod Woodson and Ed McCaffrey and all those guys. So he's an OG Bronco fan, very similar to you, Matt. And so John Elway to me is probably a nostalgic one, but probably my all-time within the division, which is tough because there's a lot of great players within the division, would be LaDainian Tomlinson. Like when I was watching him like in the early 2000s, and unfortunately when my Raiders were bad post Super Bowl loss to the Buccaneers, LT would have career games on the Raiders, but also any game that I watched, he just seemed to have another all-time great game. And I remember when he set the rushing record. And to me, like, I've never seen a player in our division. And don't get me wrong, there have been other great running backs like Priest Holmes and Larry Johnson, but LT did it consistently for a lot of years. And he's just someone that sticks out as like an all-time great, like running back. And in our division, just in general, LT is somebody who I can't stop thinking about when I think of all time.
Yeah.
Real quick, that is actually, to anybody that's just tuning in for the first time ever or whatever, that is actually the reason I became a Chargers fan. I lived in the heart of Chief Kingdom, and I didn't want to be like everybody else. And everybody's like, "Oh, you got to have a favorite team." I'm like, "No, I just I like watching football. I don't have to." And they kept pressuring me. And I remember watching him at TCU, and I actually watched a game where he broke the single game rushing record back then and held it for many years. And I was like, whoever drafts him, that's who I want. That's who I want to root for. And it just so happened in the 2001 draft, they had the first overall pick, traded back with the Falcons. Falcons took Mike Vick, and Chargers, were able to draft LaDainian Tomlinson 5th overall and then Drew Brees. So that is actually why I became a Chargers fan, is because of LaDainian Tomlinson. So
look at that full circle moment.
It really is. I have two also, just based on Derek Thomas one. One, because we grew up in Kansas City around that time, and I actually remember when he died in that car crash and whatnot. And I remember meeting him and Neil Smith when I was younger, when my brother was in the hospital, and the Chiefs players would always come in through the hospital. So I remember meeting those guys. Not enough to make me a Chiefs fan, by the way. But Neil Smith obviously came to the correct side and won a couple Super Bowls. So obviously, who's really the winner here? So Derek Thomas won, 2 LT, and here's why. Matt, you can contest to this. We've had a chance to watch really good running backs in Mike Shanahan's system growing up. I would be lying if I didn't try to picture what LT would actually look like in Mike Shanahan's system. When Mike Shanahan could just plug a running back in and they're getting 1,000 yards and just name it. No one thought Mike Anderson was going to do it. No one thought Orlando Scary was going to do it. Some of these guys that Mike Shanahan was literally able to get to 1,000 yards. So yes, growing up watching LT, I was picturing everything he would do in a Mike Shanahan offense. So from outside looking in, I was a huge LT fan and what he was able to do. Again, man, I wish he would have kept going. It sucks that I had to see him kind of go to the Jets, and it wasn't the same, obviously. But prime LT with the San Diego Chargers and that offense, I'm honestly surprised that team wasn't able to get over the hump with some of the talent that those guys were able to have on that team. So LT, DT for me. So chat, it looks like we have someone who picked theirs as well. Let's pull it up here. Chiefs, Christian Okoye. My brother has an autographed jersey over here of Christian Okoye. Raiders, Dave Gasper. Chargers, LT. Broncos, Carl Mecklenburg. fresh Hall of Fame Carl Mecklenburg.
Yeah, I do want to give a couple honorable mentions just so people don't think I'm a Broncos lover.
You're a Broncos and a Raider lover. So.
Yeah,
well,
everyone but the Chiefs.
So on this one, it came down to 3 because I picked one for each team in my head, but obviously Champ Bailey. But Chargers is going to be a weird one, but I love Lorenzo Neal.
Yeah,
Fresno State alum, great player.
Yeah,
you know, without him, I mean, you know, opening up the hole. I mean, maybe LT doesn't have as great of a career as he did. So
yeah.
So I love that. And then the Raiders, not going to be surprised with that. After I said Champ Bailey, Nnamdi Asomugha.
Yep.
That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to throw that out there. So
before he went to the Eagles too, like when he was with the Raiders, solid.
Let's
Before
get it right
after he got the bag and the Eagles, not so much, but yeah.
Yeah, but I wanted to get some other team stuff too. So Champ Bailey, far and away my favorite player ever, but like those Lorenzo Neals and Nnamdi Asamoahs of the world, like I do like players on other teams in our division. So all the crap I talk, like I still I love ball if you have it. So those are kind of the honorable mentions.
You know, I can't believe that nobody said Peyton Manning for the Broncos.
He's a
no. He's a Bronco.
He's a
first
Colt.
and foremost. He is a Bronco.
Colt is just another name for Bronco. All right, so
Broncos fan.
Hey, speaking of Broncos, Demaryius Thomas, you know, he's going to get into the Ring of Honor for the Broncos this season. You know, so big shout out to the Broncos for still remembering and recognizing the great talent of Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah, shout out.
Yep. And I looked it up. They're going to honor him week 7, October 19th against the Giants. It's going to be at halftime, and they're going to do it with the Super Bowl 50 team. So, I mean, what a way to honor the guy. So
that's awesome.
Great.
Sorry, Giants.
Oh, yeah. You're losing that one.
Why didn't nobody say Russell Wilson?
Oh, God.
Didn't he burn food? Is that right? Did he burn this food?
Let's ride.
That's right.
That's right.
And Sean Payne said, "Get off this horse."
All right.
Let's talk about the next couple of episodes here. So, like Cody said at the beginning of the show, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. We're literally, I'm sure their wives are not thrilled with how much they're texting in the group chat as much as they are. But again, we want to do this. We want to do it right. So we have segments and stuff that we're going to add throughout the season, throughout the next few weeks, and then going into the season. If you guys are good with it, I'd like to read some of these off if you guys are cool with some of these.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So on the next episode, we wanted to pose a question tonight, but we didn't know with the draft how long it was going to go. And it actually is going to turn out to be a pretty good show time-wise. We were going to do a what if, which is essentially kind of what the question of the night was, like what if scenario of what if Patrick Mahomes was a Raider or, you know, so like it's a what if segment. And that's what we're going to talk about. It's not necessarily, I don't know if anyone's going to pick that. That's just an example of probably an example that people would use. So if you could add one player to your roster this season, who would it be? So that's going to be stuff that we talk about. And then once we get into the season, we spent some time really talking about what's going to set our show and what's going to make our show unique. Well, we came up with some segments, and I don't know if we'll do all of them, but some of them that we're looking at doing is the Westie Awards. So that's basically going to be your best play, your play of the week, your boneheaded move, which I'm guessing probably going to come from Vegas. No, I'm just kidding. You guys got Pete Carroll now. You got Pete now.
All right.
For those guys there. My luck.
I was like, Corey, we had something going on here, man. You're
and it's
throwing shots too.
Damn, it's going to be in Sean Payton. I just set us up. Sorry, Matt. Or the MVP of the week. We're going to do. Each of us are going to give you guys one bold take, and then the rest of us are going to vote if it's a bro or a bold bro or BS. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to be real excited to hear some of those. And then the West Coast roast. That's just going to come natural in some of these episodes. Like up into like, we don't necessarily need to call it the West Coast roast. It's probably just going to happen. That's just how it's going to be. But we're super excited about it. And then basically one thing that we wanted to bring over, and I'm sure these guys also talk about it on their show, is our fantasy sleepers and busts of the week, where we're each going to pick a fantasy sleeper and a fantasy bust. This doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the AFC West. You'll just have to tune in and you're going to have to find out. And then one of the shows that we're going to do before the season starts is we're just going to get on here for about 45 to an hour, and we're just going to interact with the fans. Honestly, if you guys want to ask us questions, why we started this show, why we do what we do, you're going to be able to put that in the chat, and we're going to go through and we're going to
Why
answer.
anybody would be a Raiders fan?
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say, Timmy. I was literally putting my mic up and be like, why would somebody root for the Raiders?
Because they win.
So like all of a sudden so from rivals to besties, is that what we're
Yeah,
doing?
Tim and I have come a long way in 3 episodes.
And I will say,
Just wait until the roast happens, and then they're going to be at it again. So,
and appreciate some of the names that you guys are throwing out in the sports podcasting chat, the AFC Westies besties or whatever.
Yeah,
that was sick.
So apparently that's what Tim and my brother are already going into the besties mode. So
That's right.
you guys didn't have anything for this week, so we'll see.
Who thought Chiefs and Chargers could reunite or come together and be besties?
Yeah.
And another thing that we want to start doing, Cody's done a lot of work the last couple of days creating a social media page just for the War Room. There's a TikTok, there's a YouTube channel. Timmy controls the War Room now on Instagram. So when you see us post and you see the War Room on there, Tim's doing the behind the scenes of that with collaboration. Matt's starting up a YouTube channel as well, which is awesome. And he started a TikTok, and his first TikTok got like 1 million views, which is outstanding.
Yeah,
What a feller.
I was shocked. I mean, because I posted the same thing and didn't get a million. So you don't want to miss out on the AFC West War Room, guys.
So again, I'm going to open it up to you guys, and you guys just kind of give your thoughts on what's going to look like over the next 8 to 10 months.
Matt, you go ahead and start.
Matt, start us up.
I mean, honestly, I think, you guys are seeing like raw interactions between all of us. Like right now, like it's just a bunch of bros coming together. Like, yeah, we all have fun taking cheap shots at Cody, and I don't think that's going to stop as time goes on. But once the season starts and like everyone's team starts to shape up and like the controversies, there's always something going on in the league. Again, last year was Anthony Richardson taking himself out of the game. So to hear all of our opinions and then us all kind of like come together and then again gang up on Cody because Cody's the black sheep of the family. It's going to be fun. So I think you guys are going to be. It's going to grow, and the way this is going to grow is because you see 5 guys with a passion and love for our teams, for the NFL, for what we do. And that you can't. It doesn't get any more real than this. So I think you're going to get a lot of real, good opinions and some witty banter between us. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch.
And that is the AFC War Room poet, Matt Williams. Cody, what do you got to say to that?
Honestly, like as much as the shots I get for being the dark horse of the team I root for, I think the 5 of us, what we have is just something that is just love of football, love of our teams, bringing it together. Even though we can have a respectable and fun banter, we also know that it's not that deep. It's just love of the game, and friendship is kind of like what we've been forming, even on the group chats with one another, of just getting to know one another, talking sports and all that stuff, which has been fun. And being able to grow this organically has been something that has been a joy to even do. And so to see like the reactions or people like supporting it has been super encouraging, and something that even though we're in the off season, it feels like we have a lot to talk about in the regular season when some of our teams, maybe not the Raiders, maybe it'll be the Broncos or the Chiefs or Chargers, when there's a lull and they need to vent, we get to listen, laugh, or talk it out, or whatever the big major NFL news, we get a chance to dive into it and get 5 different perspectives. And I think what's very interesting is, I think a lot of people are doing podcasts, but what we're doing is we're having a good friendship and a good conversation and dressing it up as a podcast, but it's genuine, it's unique. And for us being able to grow it and being able to connect with people across the country that root for teams in the same division, I think has just been a fun thing to experience. And so I'm excited for when we announce all the fun stuff that we've got planned. Those segments sound like a great idea, but we're just getting started. And when I mean that, we are just getting started. We haven't even scratched the surface yet of what we've been talking about or what we have planned. So that's also the super exciting stuff behind the scenes.
Timmy?
Well, first and foremost, what I want to say is we talked about it on an earlier episode, guys. This is just the beginning. And we have raw, authentic emotion. We don't discuss our notes. So they catch us off guard. I mean, my own notes catch myself off guard sometimes. So, and kind of like what Matt and Cody said, this is like a friendship. We talk throughout the day, and we're discussing hey, how can we make this show better? What can we do to improve? This is episode 3. Okay. We're still kind of, I guess you could say, building our chemistry. It's not even to the full potential yet. I've known Corey and Austin, the longest out of everybody here, and then Cody and then Matt. So I'm just now learning these guys. And if my dates are, we're a month and a half of knowing each other, really, probably more closer to the month and a month and a half of just really just building this friendship. So we're a month in and we already have great chemistry. We already get along great, and we're able to kind of provide what a lot of people won't. And that is true, authentic takes. This is what we truly feel. We're not going to give you just what everybody else wants to hear. Look, I took Jalen Milroe for my mobility instead of Lamar Jackson. Why? Because I think he's a great runner and I didn't want to go with the grain. I wanted to go against the grain. So we're going to have that. We're going to have those moments where Austin says something out of left field and Matt's like, whoa, what are you doing? And Cody's like, yeah, that's a head scratcher. But that's moments that is going to make the show great. And we're just getting started. Episode 3, it's already there. Wait till we get to episode 10. Wait till we get to episode 20. Wait till we get to this time next year and see where we're at and what this show is really about. We talk all day. We make the show better. And, we've already had to change the name, and that's fine. We changed the name, changed the logo, and I got to say, I'm super excited, and I wouldn't want to do this with another group of guys. So I'm very honored, very happy, and super, super pumped that I get to do it with these 4 guys. So,
yeah, before we get to you, Austin, I do want to say just for everyone, congrats to Corey and Austin. They just hit 1,000 followers. I've been working with them for almost a year now. And both of us, when you guys had me on your show, had maybe 150 to 200 followers to our name. And for you guys to hit 1,000 in a year, that's impressive. So, great job on you guys. Well deserved. And we're all definitely happy for you. Floor is yours, Austin. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Appreciate the love, Matt. That was our 1,000 followers. But again, a lot of it doesn't happen without you guys. Collaboration, what I think Timmy and everyone else has said, the friendships and everything. So definitely appreciate it. That was, it's our 1,000 followers, but it's definitely a team effort. But I think you guys said everything right. We're just scratching the surface. We're getting to know each other. So I'm just going to point out a couple things that I'm excited about outside of just building the show together. I'm excited for once the season starts to do the week by week posting the Hampton versus Genty stat line. I can't wait to see what that brings, right? Super excited for that. But I'm
not
also
even
excited.
A reaction.
Yeah, right. I can't wait. That's how we're going to start the show. It's just we're going to post their stat lines and keep the season total and then go from there. But other than that, I'm really excited for just all the followers and fans, right? Your guys' interaction. This is why we do it, right? We love your feedback. If you have some crazy suggestion that you'd like to hear, we're open to it, right? Nothing's off limits. We want you guys to basically be part of us. You think you have an awesome topic you want us to cover, we'll do it. So, yeah, I'm excited for everything we've done together so far and continue to do. But I also want to make sure we give loves to our fans and followers and just let them know that they are part of us. So any suggestions, ideas, or even a topic you want covered, nothing's off the table for us, right? I think as Timmy said, we have the passion and love for our teams in football. We'll talk anything you guys want. We'll find a way to incorporate it. And I'm really looking forward to that episode we do where we just interact with the fans. So great things to come. I can't wait to see where we are each episode along the line. But I just want to make sure we give love to all the fans and followers, subscribers. This is part of why we do it. And without you guys, it'd be a lot less entertaining. All the comments and stuff we get, you know, I think one comment was left and I saw Tim and Cody both kind of chuckle. Like, that's what it's about, right? Bringing people together and getting a good laugh and reaction and some of the passion for sports. So that's what it's all about. And we appreciate it. And I can't wait to see where we go.
Yeah. 1,000 followers it's wild. It's still crazy to me to know in a year what's been able to happen. And I'll be honest with you guys, when we first started our show, it was doggy doo. There were some pretty bad episodes, not gonna lie, but we didn't stop. We continuously talked, what can we do to make it better? What can we do? Well, we brought Matt on one of our shows. We got some Bronco followers, and we just kind of kept going from there. So I do owe it to you guys, and then some of the guys in the comments as well. We owe it to you guys for the 1K, and we're growing. We're continuously getting followers. This is awesome. It truly is amazing. But we need you guys to follow Matt and Tim. They're the next ones up for 1K. If anyone deserves it, it's those guys. I can promise you, yes, we all do work for the show, but Tim goes a little extra mile, and he really wants to show. And without Tim, honestly, there's times where we would probably be lost. He keeps us in check. He keeps us grounded in what we're trying to do. He's a perfectionist. We want this show to be as perfect as it can be. And I don't think this is anything possible without Timmy and what Timmy's able to do behind the scenes. So, Tim, go give Tim a follow. He truly is passionate about this. We all are. But again, and Matt's been with us since basically day one. So, and what he's able to do, we were roasting him last time about get your socials up, do the YouTube, do the TikTok. These guys are good at what they do. That's why it was no hesitation to do a show with Matt, with Tim, and with Cody. We brought the roundtable idea, and we were like, we wanted to get it right. We don't just want anyone on the roundtable. Now the War Room, we want to make sure it's guys who kind of know what they're talking about and what their passion. You see it in the first 3 episodes. Again, 3 episodes. So it's crazy to me. But again, go give Tim a follow on Instagram. Go find him on TikTok, YouTube. We're not going to leave Cody out. Go follow Cody too. I know Cody's great at what he like I said, he spent late nights trying to get the logo correct. He's the one who found out we needed to change the name from research. It's the little things, and we preach it in our group chat of we got to get it right. We catch it now. That way we know what to do next week. So again, yes, we got to 1K. We're not looking to stop at 1K. We want 2K. We want 3K. We want to keep growing this, and we know it's not going to happen overnight. We know it's going to be another year or 2, but that's fine. That's kind of why we keep doing this. So again, yes, we'll do our giveaway tomorrow. Yes, one of these 3 have a chance to win it. I hope they don't. But we'll.
That's kind of rude because I was actually rooting for you guys to win. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, if you do, cool. It's fun. It's like we're doing this at 1K. Imagine
people will talk about the rigged lottery.
right. We're doing the jersey giveaway at 1K. Imagine what we do when we hit 5 or 10K.
Shoot, we're gonna have to give away a lot bigger than a jersey.
Exactly. So again, but we also want to build the War channel up. So make sure you guys go follow that on Instagram and YouTube as well, TikTok, all the socials. And again, guys, that's all for tonight. This has been fun. I'm trying to get it done before the 2-hour mark because we kept saying keep it under 2 hours. So again, we'll be back next week, Wednesday night. If that changes, we will let everyone know. Continue to follow us on Instagram. Look for the posts, look for the videos, look for the promos. If you guys have things that you want to hear us talk about, AFC West worthy, ask us, DM us, post
Slide in there.
Slide in the DMs. Find the post, comment, question. Tim, end it.
Yeah, real quick, this is a great team effort. Corey Nosson got to 1K. They mentioned, that we helped, but this is like a team effort in all regards, and that you're not going to find that anywhere else. And I that's what first and foremost, AFC West War Room on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok. We're probably going to go to X. You don't want to miss this, guys. You want to be a part of it when we're still small. You don't want to be like, when this thing blows up, you're like, oh, man, I should have been there from the beginning. I could have been considered an OG. Get in now, guys, because we're only going to get bigger. I believe in this group right here because this group is a great group and, we're passionate. So follow the AFC West War Room on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Let's grow that channel. And maybe we can set goals when that channel hits, when the channel itself hits certain numbers, we can do certain giveaways, So, but you can find me on all the socials. I do want to point out that I did change my Instagram. There is no underscores. That got to be kind of a tongue twister to say. Answer the call. COLL on all the socials on Spotify. Make sure you follow your boy. And just remember, if you want to talk ball, I'll answer the call.
Cody,
Let's get it.
socials.
Follow us at Drew Code Sports Talk. It's also on YouTube. It's on all the socials. It's tagged in the AFC War Room channels as well. So if you need it, go find it. And just like Tim said, you guys want to talk ball, we all will answer the call.
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah. Again, I was bullied and harassed for the last 2 weeks. I finally did it. I answered the call, and
yes.
I have a YouTube and I have a TikTok. I'm also on X. It's Orange Crush News 365. You can follow me on all those platforms.
Or as I think there was a autocorrect error, OC Nudes 365. So
that's my OnlyFans.
I'm the number one subscriber.
There we go. Find us on Instagram, X, TikTok, and we do have Twitch. It's at Showdown Sports. We will be doing our live show tomorrow night, 6 p.m., doing our jersey giveaway. So hopefully we'll see you all there. Until next week, we will see you guys in the War Room.
Whoa.